follow up
I'll get to you.
on this. How is this bombardment from the base in Iran violates 2231? How is it violated? In what sense?
Well, again, I don't want to get into.
My understanding is
Yeah.
that that involves deliveries of arms to Iran, or weapons and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more nuanced and complicated than that. And I understand I don't have the language in front of me, but it's a bit more nuanced and complicated. It involves sometimes allowing certain weaponry or to be used or housed in Iran. Again, I don't have the language in front of me, but it's very nuanced and it's very complex, which is why I just told Brad, we're looking at it, we're assessing it, and we're assessing whether this would constitute a violation. And if we do so, then there's a process in place that we would take it to the UN Security Council, and then that process would play itself out where every member of the UN Security Council would be able to weigh in whether they agree with that or not. So we're just not there yet.
But as long as it is not in Iranian hands or Iranian position, it is not a violation, is it?
I'm sorry, one more time the question.
My question is, as long as, the Russians obviously control all these airplanes and they probably control the area from which they bomb and so on, as long as it is not in Iranian hands, is it a violation? I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, no, and I agree. It's, as I said, I just don't have, I think that's what we're looking at right now, and our lawyers are looking at it. We haven't made an assessment. We're looking at it, and it does require a very detailed legal analysis, whether there was a violation. And again, it's not just, as I understand it, it's not just supplying the Iranians certain weapons or certain offensive weaponry. It's more complex than that, whether you're using it. I can get you the language. I mean, you have it in front of you, no doubt. But
And my last question is, why do you think, in your view or your assessment, why do the Russians, why are they using an Iranian base when in fact they have the Khamenei that is housing, many airplanes, and they can bomb from there? Is there a political message? Is it really a solidification of this Iranian-Russian alliance?
The short answer, Said, is I don't know, and we don't know. We've seen Russian politicians and officials say that this is part of a cost-saving measure that allows them to move closer to the attack. That's really for them to try to characterize what their intentions are here. Again, I would just go back to what I said in response to Brad's question. The Russians have been using their bases in Syria to carry out similar attacks for months now. And so, while I don't want to in any way underplay the significance of them using Iranian air bases as they are, I think it's important to remember that they've been carrying out similar airstrikes that have purported to target Daesh and ISIL, but in a large number of cases hit indiscriminately civilian targets, civilians themselves, as well as, we talked about yesterday, moderate Syrian opposition groups, all of which only complicates and exacerbates an already difficult situation and leaves us nowhere closer to what we need to get in place in Syria.
On this question,